details about the presentations and the speakers on the Hoover webpage. Please do go look at that, register for any other sessions, and also provide feedback by rating the sessions you've attended. All sessions will be recorded and they'll be available on the WBP website to view afterwards. In this session now we have 4 speakers with us. We have Alison from Welsh Government, who's going to talk about local places for nature. And we're also joined by Catherine Thomas, Elliot Waters and Dr. Laura Jones from the National Botanic Garden of Wales, who are going to talk about the Biophilic Wales project. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to our first presenter, which is Alison, to talk about local places for nature. So thank you, Alison.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much indeed, Kerry. As Kerry said, my name is Alison. I'm the Programme Manager for Local Places for Nature in the Welsh Government. Local Places for Nature is a new programme in 2021. The First Minister asked us to create a programme that would enable communities to create nature on your doorstep. It was extremely timely because, of course, with COVID, we've all recognised how important it is to access nature close to where we live, work and access public services. So we created Local Places for Nature to focus on 3 main areas of deprivation, urban and peri-urban areas, and areas with little or no access to nature, recognising that in some cases, people living in rural areas have little or no access to nature because they can't access the land around them. So those are the 3 fundamental premises of Local Places for Nature. Within that, we are looking to implement modest measures that make an impact locally. The First Minister is keen to see action by local groups and community groups who make an impact on biodiversity close to where they live. So we have these areas that we would like projects to focus on. As you can see, there's quite a wide range of areas that can be undertaken. You've heard quite a lot already about mowing practices, changing mowing practices across local authority and the wider public service, increasing pollinators more widely. We're interested in local tree planting. We're of course not trying to usurp the National Forest or anything like that. These days, very much a local, very small scale action. But of course, the idea is to underpin some of our wider programmes, such as restoring the Natura sites and creating the National Forest across Wales. So as you can see, there's quite a wide range of areas that projects can focus on. The rationale behind Local Places for Nature is very simple. The idea is that if people engage with nature, they come to appreciate it and value it, and they are more likely to support our wider programmes such as the National Forest and the sites and our work and expenditure on those areas. We would like people to engage with nature also for the well-being that it provides them. And the other principle is that the public sector will lead by example. You'll see from the programmes that we're delivering, and you've heard a lot from Chris Lazo already this afternoon, that the public sector can take a real lead in demonstrating how Wales can restore and enhance nature locally. You've heard from Chris already today, but Local Places for Nature runs through 3 what we call scheme managers. It's not a traditional programme whereby Welsh Government offers a grant scheme. We delegate that responsibility to 3 scheme managers. Now, the idea is that Local Places for Nature is a bottom-up programme that organisations come forward with their ideas. So we have 3 scheme managers. The first, obviously, are the local nature partnerships. They are an invaluable source of action and delivery across Wales. Rather than having a competitive process, we give each LNP an allocation. So they then are free to set up a plan that meets the Local Places for Nature principles that I've described already, but fits with their local area, because as we know, An area like Merthyr has very different needs when it comes to restoring and enhancing nature compared with somewhere like Pembrokeshire. So each LNP is free to create a plan that fits with the local nature partnership principles. And this year they've gone ahead and implemented those plans. You've seen some earlier on, and I'll be talking about those in more detail in a moment. But those, of course, are our statutory sector, and so we wanted to ensure that all organisations have the opportunity to access funding. So we've created an innovative partnership with the National Lottery Heritage Fund, who are already a grant provider across Wales. And we're working together to offer capital grants between 10 and 50,000 to any community organisation that wishes to apply. Obviously, they have to be constituted and have a bank account and have a degree of organisation and management to access that sort of funding. But the National Lottery Heritage Fund are already giving out grants across Wales to take forward projects. Now, both of those two require a significant element of organisation and management in order to access those programmes. So Keep Wales Tidy provides the third element, and it's quite different to the other two. Applicants receive a prepaid package of plants, tools, and expertise to help them deliver their own local place to nature. Keep Wales Tidy have starter packages which are very small in nature. All the community group needs to do is have a group of volunteers, get permission from the landlord and or the landowner, and then to agree to maintain the local place to nature for at least 5 years after the project is completed. This makes it incredibly simple for very small, unconstituted community groups to come together and to start to create places for nature on their doorstep. There's a second set of projects which are called development packages. They're larger, but they work on exactly the same principle. The community group that applies receives all of the materials, all of the resources and the tools they need to create their place for nature. So those can be butterfly gardens, community growing projects, and butterfly gardens. There's a range of them. I'll give you the web address at the end of the presentation. So these are a very different way of delivering local places for nature. So as you can see, the three different scheme managers operate in completely different ways. They're not in competition with each other. They work very much in collaboration. So sometimes National Lottery, for example, might suggest an organisation perhaps might be better accessing one of the Keep Wales Tidy packages first in order to gain some skills and knowledge before they embark on a project on their own. So the three work very much together and exchange information. We've already heard from Chris that some of the local nature partnership coordinators sit on the assessment panels like Keep Wales Tidy and for the National Lottery to make sure we have learning across the different schemes and to make sure that projects don't overlap or are too close together or that sort of thing. So that's the way that the scheme operates. So this is our first year in 2020-21. We started from a standing start about this time last year, and so all credit goes to the local nature partnership coordinators who've done a great job of creating their plans, to Keep Wales Tidy, who are delivering across Wales, and to the National Lottery, who are funding projects across Wales. So we have 600 capital projects currently running. You've heard about some of them today. It's quite nice to see local places for nature popping up in various people's project presentations, because that's the idea, that the money is distributed across Wales to as many community groups as possible. And we've got a budget of about 7 million going across scheme managers. So Keep Wales Tidy are delivering about 550 of the projects. That's because there's an awful lot of those starter projects that I was talking to you about. They've delivered about 300 already. If you'd like to know where they are, go to the Keep Wales Tidy website, and there's a fantastic interactive map that will tell you where all of the projects are across Wales, and you can click on it and find out, see a picture and a brief description of what's happening. There'll be 45 of the larger development projects completed by Christmas, and about 80 of them delivered by the end of the financial year. So there's a tremendous amount of delivery going on there with Keep Welsh Tidy. Adam, would you be able to show the video now? If everyone could just bear with me for a moment. We're going to show you a short video of a Keep Welsh Tidy project in Cardiff that works with residents of a small community living in a development run by a housing association in Cardiff. So we're just waiting. There we are. Thank you, Adam. We'll just wait for the presentation to reload. Thank you very much, Adam. I hope that gave you a flavour of the scale of the local places for nature that Keep Welsh Tidy are delivering. The fact that you could see the volunteers there taking part in creating their own local place for nature. You saw that they received all of the tools and equipment that they needed, and the gentleman at the front of the last photograph was the coordinator that helped them deliver that project. So to imagine that there are 550 of those going on in communities across Wales. The National Lottery have funded 10 projects already, with more in the pipeline. They're generally about £30,000, and the communities are getting on and delivering those. And finally, as you know, the local nature partnerships have been working hard this year on their plans. Across the local nature partnerships, we have 46 plans in place that are being delivered to the tune of about £2.5 million. I know that you've had a presentation already, but I just wanted to highlight to you 4 local nature partnerships. There's no favouritism here. They're all doing a tremendous job, but I just wanted to show you the variety of projects that are taking place. So all of the local nature partnerships have been asked to green the public service estate. That's to say they need to look at their land and buildings and to see how they can introduce or reintroduce biodiversity. So you can see that some of them are creating wildflower meadows in around their public buildings in Anglesey. In Cardiff, there's going to be 2 green walls installed on public buildings. One of them is a library. Merthyr, as you've heard earlier, are installing cut and collect machines to change their mowing practices on their public land, and Wrexham are doing similar. Now, the second set of plans are about nature on your doorstep. This is where local nature partnerships can really take any of those themes that I've identified earlier on in the presentation and identify what is most important to them in restoring and enhancing nature. So you can see, again, there's some that are buying machinery to change their mowing practices. But in Merthyr, you can see they've taken a play area that was pretty much unusable and are changing it into a place for nature. And then in Wrexham, they are introducing canopy cover and planting street trees and creating pollinator-friendly planting. So you can see there's a huge variety of projects going on across Wales. This is just a snapshot, but every one of the LNPs have got their own plan, and they're working on those modest measures that make an impact locally. So for any of you for whom this has whetted your appetite, potentially, you can contact your local nature partnership through the web address that I've identified there. If you're interested in potentially taking a project forward yourself with the National Lottery Heritage Fund and ourselves, those applications are considered on a monthly basis. So although it's November, it's not too late to apply because the funding runs until the end of the next financial year. So that's quite helpful in terms of at this time of the financial year. And of course, with the National Lottery Heritage Fund, we have capital funding in the main, but there is an element of support through the National Lottery as well to fund other costs. And of course, Keep Welsh Tidy are there either to look at whether or not you know of a community group that might be interested in a starter or development pack, or potentially to go and have a look at their fantastic interactive map and see what's going on in your local area. As I said, these three organisations are working together. They're supporting each other in helping projects access the most appropriate strand of money. And they're also working together to sit on each other's panels and review projects. So we're beginning to get a body of individuals across Wales who are working together. So this was one of the main aims of Local Places for Nature, as I said, to be a bottom-up programme, so that it wasn't centrally controlled and managed by Welsh Government, but where communities and organisations across Wales would come together to restore and enhance nature. So looking forward, we would like to encourage as many organisations and groups to participate in Local Places for Nature. As you know, through our third sector agreement, we are committed to working with third sector partners, both in terms to increase expertise and support. Chris gave a fantastic presentation about the way the Local Nature Partnership coordinators are taking on a bigger and bigger role in supporting projects, not just that they're undertaking, but that other organisations within their areas are undertaking. And we want to see even more of that next year and hope that that sort of role will be developed. But also in identifying innovative ways in which we can deliver programmes like Local Places for Nature. The Keep Welsh Tidy model has not been done before. It's a very interesting model of delivery. Not everybody wants a prepaid package, but for those organisations that are very new to this, don't necessarily have the knowledge and expertise to understand non-native species and peat-free compost and all those other things that they need to think about, all of that is done for them. And so they need to just get the volunteers together and to find a place to do it. So that offers some community groups a significant level of assurance, and also they don't have to get involved in procurement and things like that. The National Lottery is a very different, innovative way of bringing together different public sector funding models and coming together to support projects jointly. So hopefully we will be able to develop more of that in the future and enable more organisations to get involved in Local Places for Nature. So that's a very quick summary of where we've got to with Local Places for Nature to date. As I said, it's a brand new programme. It's only been running for a year. We've used existing delivery mechanisms as much as possible to try and speed up delivery and also to reduce the administration and overheads within the system. I hope you've enjoyed the presentation. I'll be available for the Q&A session later if you'd like to ask me any questions. So I'm aware that we're slightly behind time, so hopefully I've caught up a little bit, Kerry.